Alright, so now that we have the dowel rods, we have the box mostly put together, we're going to start to add some of the other features to this. So for example, on the physical box, we'd now take this over to the router table. We'd round off the edges of the top and the bottom. Not the sides, because these are still going to come to a point, to a corner. I want the sides to match up with the corners on this box. So to get just the edges of this, we're going to use a 3D fillet. So make sure that you switch from your Assembly tab to your 3D Modeling tab and select Fillet. Change your radius to 0.25 and then click off of it so that it's no longer selected, and you can start to select lines on here. And the only lines I want you to select are the ones that are the outside facing corners. So this one, here, and notice there's a gap in between, so I have to make sure I get that little corner too. Go all the way around the box and say apply. Right, and now it's just like if I were to take this to the router table and run this through to round over the edges on this. Let's look at the bottom of it, do the same thing. Select apply and exit out. And now I want to start to build a tray that I'm going to put inside of this. So before I can do that, let me get some measurements of the inside. I want to make it to where I can see what it looks like. So to get rid of this lid, just right click and uncheck visibility. And now let's select inspect, distance, and we have our virtual ruler. So let's say, let's go to a top view. From one edge to the other inside edge, looks like it is 11 inches. And from here to here is 7 inches. So it's an 11 by 7 box we're going to put inside of here. Alright, let's make that as a new part. And these are actually multiple parts. So let's start with a 2D sketch. And rectangle. Always start by clicking on the origin. We'll give this some basic rectangle shape. Select dimension. And I want this to be 11, but I'm going to have two pieces that are going to go on either side of this. Alright, so in order for it to fit inside the jewelry box as a shelf, I'm going to have to make this a little bit smaller. So I'm going to say 11 minus 0.25. And actually, let's go a little bit safer on that. We'll say 11 minus 0.5. Select front so you can see what just happened. And let's make this about 1.5 inches deep. Finish your sketch. Select your home view. Click extrude. And we'll make this 0.25. Make it 1/4 of an inch. Click OK. Right, let's go back up to, well, no, let's finish this off. Alright, so with the two long pieces, similar to the 12-inch pieces on here, how on the bottoms of this we had a rabbet cut. And so that's when you take the blade of the table saw and you take off part of it, but it's all an exposed notch. You can kind of see it if I highlight and then move this around. Maybe. Or it might just not cooperate. Okay, we said this is a rabbit. When we cut off part of it and leave it to where it's all exposed, we are now going to be making something similar but different. On this feature, I make a little rectangle. It's going to cut in halfway. So if this is 0.25 from here to here, half of 0.25 is 0.125. I want this to also be about 0.125. And actually, this cut here is also going to be 0.125. So we're making just a little square notch here. Finish your sketch and extrude, cut that little notch, change the distance to all. Alright, so similar to a rabbit, main difference is that the entire cut is still within this piece. So I'm going to make a shelf that's going to slide into here, and we'll glue it into this little slide. Let's change the material type. We'll make it cherry, so it'll match everything else that we have, and save this as, how long did we make this? 10.75? Should be 10.5. Shelf side, and the reason why we're doing that is if we go to minute to inspect distance, this length here is 10.5. Alright, let's go to new part, 2D sketch. We'll pick another of these, rectangle. Start with your origin, click out, dimension. We said this is 1.5. And now this distance, we're going to make it 7. Finish your sketch, extrude, make this 0.25, and click OK. Change the material type to cherry, and save this as 7-inch shelf side. We're going to make one more piece, and that's going to be the bottom of this shelf. So let's say new part, 2D sketch. Because it's the bottom, I'm going to select this bottom plane, rectangle, dimension. The width of this, it would be 7, but we're going to subtract 0.25 from each side. So 7 minus 0.25 minus 0.25 is 6.5. This whole length is going to be our 10.5. That's the length of the 12-inch side. Finish your sketch. Click on the home view so you can see what you're doing. Click extrude, and this is 0.125 thick. Now this is masonite. It's a kind of a engineered lumber. It's made with like the fine particles where they take stuff that was scrap and they make it into now things that are usable again. And it's normally a kind of a darker color. So we're going to show that with, let's just go walnut. That's pretty similar to what it actually looks like. Okay, and save this as shelf bottom. Alright, in the next video we're going to be assembling the sides of your shelf and deciding how to make some special dividers for it.